rather risible or amusing moments. In other words, that I don't think we should divide the audience into sort of serious on the one hand and amused on the other. People can be both.
There's a kind of social perspective. What were we like then? How did we live then? What were the ideas about? How have we changed? And there's also the entertainment aspect. Just the fact that it's a way of putting you in touch, I suppose, with other generations.
I think Dixon of Dock Green is a prime example of a programme that will be read by two different audiences in different ways. And if you're over a certain age, 30-something over, you saw Dixon of Dock Green go out in its early days. And in those days, it was an affirmation of what was everything that was good about the police. And by watching it again, you're becoming aware of the slippage between that ideal and what has happened to the police.
You, look, Mr. Dixon, I can explain that. You used your uniform for this. I had to have money, see. I did it first time just as a lark. Nobody suspected a copper, see?
Shut up! You can talk me to get to the station. There's nothing worse than a rotten copper. Nothing. It's the lowest thing that crawls on God's earth.
Now, if you're under 30, you never saw Dixon go out in its original. And it, to a lot of people, it's just laughable that a man would stand up underneath a blue lamp and give a homily in a generation who are coping with things like the Birmingham Six.
The only bad copper I ever met. We're not angels, and they say you get a bad apple in every barrel. But the police have to build on trust, and the papers will print a page about one bad policeman and never mention the thousands who do their job honestly.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The interesting thing about something like Thunderbirds is that it's been watched by different people in different ways. You've got the kids of today who are watching it because it genuinely is entertaining, and then you've got the people who used to watch it who are looking at it and kind of laughing or enjoying the kitsch value of it. And that's partly to do with looking back at these iconic figures like Parker and Lady Penelope, the way that Lady Penelope behaves as a woman, the way that Parker behaves as a bizarre victim of the British class system. There's a whole set of questions that you can bring to it now that you didn't bring to it as a child.
Well, I shall be retiring for the night now, Parker.
Very good, milady. I trust you have everything you require.
Well, I must admit, I miss my usual cup of cocoa.
I did anticipate that, milady. So I slipped an hot flask of your favourite brand in the foot of your hat box.
Thank you, Parker. Good night, then.
Good night, milady.
There's obviously a camp appeal with a lot of these archive programmes. You can allow yourself the luxury of feeling superior to them. You can laugh at the clothes, you can laugh at the hairstyles, you can think, wasn't it so crass then?
You can feel superior to the people appearing in the programme, but at the same time, it's us ourselves, so that it's kind of superiority without any harm in a way, because we're all part of the 70s. We all wore the terrible clothes. We all appeared on Top of the Pops wearing loon pants.
For television executives, the archive has yet another more potent appeal.
There is also the economic aspect of it, which is that we are mad. We would be negligent in this business if we ignored this fantastic sleeping asset that we all have, which is a treasury of great programs and which the viewers absolutely love. So why not exploit it?
TV Heaven is an interesting, deft stroke in one of the most competitive parts of the schedule, Saturday night. What worries me about it is its implications for the next generation of TV Heaven. Where will those programs come from if there isn't room and the money for this lot of independent producers to keep trying and produce that sort of television? The real question is, does 39 hours of repeats use up the money that would need to be invested in new drama, new comedy, and new series?
What did you pray for?
Huh?
You was praying.
I wasn't. I counted up to 20 and said amen.
I see. Oh, well, they'll have that logged now for when you report.
What?
Heaven.
How do you know?
Because I've got faith.
If there were any evidence in the Channel 4 schedule to suggest that our commitment to original and new production of all kinds was suffering as a result of the archive season, I wouldn't tolerate it for a minute. No, our primary responsibility is to produce original new programming all the time.
We've got a policy towards the archive now and a budget to contribute towards it, something I've been looking for some time, but that means it'll be possible to do it without taking money away from other initiatives and also particularly taking money away from new programming in the area of drama or light entertainment.
For some, the chance to see again highly prized programmes marks the culmination of a passionate campaign.
Why I should explain anything. Ship. I use your own outdated terminology for any craft which does not roll along on wheels.
You mean it moves? TARDIS can go anywhere.
TARDIS? I don't know what you mean, Susan.
I made up TARDIS from the initials. Time and relative dimension in space.
But the archive's long-term position in time and space has yet to be decided. As we see more and more of it, will it lose one of the key elements of its appeal?
Are we going to get very familiar with the archive and say, oh, we sort of know what a Dixon of Dock Green is like, we sort of remember what a Dr. Finley's Casebook was, or This Is Your Life? And are we going to just get very bored of seeing black and white programmes with creaky plots? Are we going to start turning against that and say, nostalgia, that was what happened in the early 1990s, and now we're on to fresh things?
Well, she's pulled a muscle, that's what she's done.
I kenned that. Didn't I say that, Annie? I kenned it was a muscle I pulled.
Ah, well, you should ken that you're getting too old to do the Highland fling. You're not a wee lassie any longer. You know.
When old Hollywood movies were shown on television, they were popular, but they never disappeared because they're part of a kind of a shared heritage. Television is too, and I don't think, now that we've begun to establish the importance of this archive material, it will ever disappear.
There is a limit. You have to be very selective, and I hope we won't do to our archives what we did to snooker as broadcasters and totally overexpose it and overkill it. No, you have to. The key is to be very, very selective.
And you can see Channel 4's TV Heaven every Saturday for another 12 weeks. Alex Haley, who died on Monday at the age of 70, changed all our perceptions of black history.